Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a closer look on the Multimedia Chronicles. Today, we're going to be checking out Buck Rogers in the 25th Century. Yeah, the sadly short-lived series only lasted about a season and a half, from 1979 to 1980, I believe. But boy, what an impression it made on my young mind at the time. Loved this show. Loved the sort of cheesiness of it and the flashy silvery jumpsuits and the spaceships and the robots and the villains, and it's just a great show for a young sci-fi geek like me. So yeah, let's check it out. We got the original DVD release and the Blu-ray release. Yeah. Today on a closer look on the Multimedia Chronicles. Welcome back. Now, as a youth who was a sci-fi genre fan, there was quite a lot of cool stuff on TV to enjoy. Stuff like Battlestar Galactica, and Knight Rider, and The Incredible Hulk, Wonder Woman, and of course, Buck Rogers in the 25th Century fit right in with everything there. Now, of course, I had no idea at the time that this was based on a classic comic strip and old movie serial. But later on, a few years after, having seen the original series, the old Buster Crabbe movie serial was on TV, and my dad showed it to me and says, "Yeah, this is the original Buck Rogers." I'm like, really? And I just had a blast with it. I absolutely loved it. It was so much fun. An interesting fun fact here: Buster Crabbe, who of course played Buck Rogers in the original serial, and is even more famous for playing Flash Gordon in the old Flash Gordon serials, actually has a small part in an episode of this Buck Rogers. Yeah, he was still around. He was, getting up there in years, but I don't know, I think he was in his 70s at the time that this came out. But they actually had him in one of the episodes, and there's a nice little exchange between him and new Buck, where it kind of feels like a subtle passing of the torch. It was very, very nice. Of course, I had no clue about that when I was a kid, but seeing it now and knowing that, that history makes that scene all the more special. But yeah, it was a great show. I really enjoyed it a lot. To see this level of sci-fi on television at the time was something you didn't see a lot of. So I really got to give kudos to Glen Larson for pushing for this kind of thing and to make it happen. Because we were essentially seeing near Star Wars level special effects on weekly television. It was pretty impressive. Apparently a lot of the models in this were kind of left over from Battlestar Galactica, or they were based on earlier designs that were not used in Battlestar Galactica. And yeah, but it's great fun. This one is Battlestar Galactica was, of course, a little more serious. This has a little more of a tongue-in-cheek kind of cheese factor to it. I mean, even at the time, it was seen as kind of campy and a little bit over the top. I will say this, though. The space vampire episode scared the shit out of me when I was a kid. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed watching on the little 12-inch TV the Space Vampire episode, and I couldn't look away, and I was just terrified out of my skin. Wow, just great stuff. So, yeah, when I got the Blu-ray set recently, I immediately popped it in and powered through almost darn near the whole series. I didn't do that with the original DVD set because, well, double-sided dual layer discs, a few playback problems here and there made it a bit frustrating. And, yeah. So, anyway, let's head on down to the black box, and we're going to take a look at the original DVD set, take a little peek at the re-release that Universal put out a few years later, and finally take a look at the Blu-ray set. Okay, so we'll start here with the original DVD release from a while back. This is a really gorgeous set, I have to say. I love the packaging on this. We'll get a better look in just a moment here. I'll just give you a look at the spines there. And then on the back, you've got all this lovely artwork, and it's all stylized after the design of the show. And then if we slide it out, check this out. Yeah, so we got this cool, like, sort of cutaway plastic slipcover with some of the artwork on the slipcover, and then on the back here as well. And then inside, we have all this beautiful artwork in the sort of book packaging inside. And there you go, you can get a better look at it. Quite nice indeed. So, if we open it up, oh, and suddenly it all comes crashing down. We have these lovely double-sided, dual-layered discs that Universal is famous for. And I will confirm, yes, some of the discs had playback problems, as these sets often did. But we do get this cool booklet. Look at this. This nice booklet with full-color pictures and breakdown of what's on each disc. It's very nice. Very nice. Again, something, as I've said in other closer looks, these types of booklets are something you don't see very often anymore. But, oh, and look at that. We got ads for a few other things here. What do we got here? Riverworld, Control Factor, and Saint Sinner. Cool. I haven't heard of any of those. These are apparently Sci-Fi Channel movies. Oh, and this is before they rebranded to Sci-Fi. That's how long ago this DVD set came out, just to kind of give you an idea. So, there you go. And yes, that is Gary Coleman. He played a recurring character in a few episodes. He was kind of at the height of his superstardom there from Different Strokes. And he had done a few movies as well, like On the Right Track and some other ones I don't remember. Anyway, we'll take a look here at the... so we take a look underneath. We actually do have some artwork underneath. Quite nice. Oh. Hi, how's it going? So that's pretty nice. So the cool thing about this, unlike a lot of sets you see now with trays, is there's actually artwork in between the trays. So it's like two trays glued together with artwork in the middle. So if we take these out, you can actually see there's artwork underneath of each one. I think it's the same picture for each one. Let's just pop this one out and we'll take a look. Come on. Yeah, it's actually just the same picture under each one, so we don't need to look at all of them. But kind of cool. So Buck Rogers ran for 2 seasons. There was basically one, I think, normal length, 20-some-odd episode season, and then a second season, which was much shorter, where they kind of reinvented the series a little bit. It used to be it took place all on Earth, and it was about various threats to Earth and sort of earthbound threats. And then the second season, they went off into space on a ship called the Searcher, and it was all about them out there exploring and encountering different things. So it kind of became a, I don't know, cheesier version of Star Trek in a way. But it did introduce the character of Hawk for the second season, which I thought was a pretty cool character. So, very nice set, but with some playback problems due to the double-sided discs. So a few years later, Universal actually re-released the series, not as a complete series set, but as 2 individual season sets, and those looked like this. And the difference here was, much like they did with their re-releases of other TV shows, they re-authored all the discs onto single-sided discs. Yes, so they actually play back properly. Now, by the way, I should mention, if you're curious as to which version of the pilot is on these sets, on both the complete series set and the season 1 set, it's actually the theatrical version of the pilot. It's not the televised version, so that's worthy to note. Because a few years later, in Australia, they released this set on Blu-ray. And it's region-free. So a region-free Blu-ray set of the complete series of Buck Rogers in the 25th century. And actually quite cheap. I think this set goes for about $45. Like, it's not even as an import. You just go to Amazon.com and get this set for like $40-something. And it's great. So this was basically just a flimsy box that housed the 2 season sets. Now, the 2 individual season sets go for more. They're actually more expensive than just getting the box set, which contains both of them. And they're exactly the same. The individual set, if you buy these individually, you're just going to get this set and this set. Or you can get the box for about half the price and get both of them together. So, there you go. So, just take a quick look here. As you can see, same cover art on both of them. I'm just going to zoom in just a smidge here. There we go. That's a little better. So then on the spine, we just got that. And then on the back, just kind of a rundown of what's on the set. So we do have some special features here, which I'll go over in a moment. So if we pop this open, pretty straightforward. We have the breakdown of what's on the discs on the inside of the cover. And then the individual discs there. So, and it tells you what's on each one on the actual disc art. Quite nice disc art on this too, actually. Something you also don't see very often these days. But they actually did a really nice job of this. So now, if you're curious as to which version of the pilot is on this, it is the televised version. Now, they do have the theatrical version on it. Somewhere. Yeah, here it is. They do have the theatrical version, but only as a standard definition version. So, and it's a standard definition PAL version, so which means you won't be able to play that unless you have a fully region-free player or something, or a player capable of playing PAL format video. So honestly, if you're in North America like I am and you want to have the theatrical version of the pilot, just get the season 1 set on DVD, because for whatever reason the theatrical version is not available in high definition anywhere in the world. I don't know why. You'd think with the movie version it would be easier to put it in high def, but apparently not. And here's the season 2 set. There's Hawk, who I mentioned earlier. Awesome character. There we go. And there's the back. So this was a bit of a shorter season. I think this was only like 10 episodes, if I remember correctly. 11. It was 11 episodes. So there we go. So we got very lovely package art, and once again, breakdown of what's on all the discs. This one has another couple of things. It has Time of the Hawk and Journey to Oasis, the feature-length versions as they originally aired, and then they have a bonus of Journey to Oasis, which is the second story of the second season, the syndicated 2-part version. So they were chopped up into episodes for syndication later, but they originally aired as feature-length episodes. And that's it. So this one's only 3 discs because it's basically half the number of episodes that were in season 1. So, yeah, so you do have a few bonuses on there. If I just take a look real quick on the back here. Yeah, so you've got the... so the way that the pilot is presented here is as a feature-length presentation, but it is the television version, which is a little bit longer than the theatrical version and has a few differences. However, as a bonus, it does include the ending and opening sequences for the 2-part version of the pilot, which is how it aired most of the time in repeats. You also have the opening titles without narration. You have the opening and closing titles without text, so you've got clean versions of them. And yeah, and you've also got Flight of the War Witch feature-length version in standard definition as well. And, of course, the aforementioned Journey to Oasis 2-part version. So it's pretty cool. You've got a bunch of alternate versions of the stories. There's just a couple of them you might not be able to watch on a standard Blu-ray player in North America unless you have a fully region-free one. So there we go. Buck Rogers. Gotta love it. So there you go. Quite a nice collection, and definitely worth having both in your collection, if only to have the alternate versions of the pilot in easily accessible form, and well, the different extras, I guess, that are on both sets as well. So it's quite nice, and I mean they're all quite affordable too. I mean the individual season sets of the DVDs are quite cheap, and the Blu-ray set is surprisingly cheap considering it's technically an import. But I haven't seen this go for much more than about 50, $60. I think I paid about 45 for it. So, yeah, so snap it up if you're a fan of the show like I am. You won't be disappointed. I mean, the Blu-ray transfers look great, too. I mean, they're just fantastic. So it's great to see the show again, but also to see it in better quality than it's ever been seen in before. Alrighty, that is it from me to you for now. So big thanks to you for watching. Big thanks to my Patreon sponsors. Be sure to swing by Twitch if you feel so inclined. I actually do all of this filming and stuff live on stream, so you can actually watch as I make the videos, and we can chat in between takes, and you can watch how many times I mess up. Alrighty, so see you next time. Until then, sayonara. Welcome back. Now, growing up as a young youth, there was